How about now?
Got it.
Recording.
Okay. Welcome to the September Omaha Linux Users Group. I am Dave Thacker. I call myself the speaker wrangler. And this month I wrangled myself into putting a presentation on. Next month, October, Chad Holman is going to talk about some things about, Chad, if you're on, I apologize. I can't remember the topic. And I'm still looking for a presenter on November. So if you're interested, let me know.
Hey, Dave.
I do apologize. Yes?
Yeah, it was so next month in October, I was going to do something on dot file management.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And I think I mentioned to you that I would take November and quick start guide to TMUX.
Oh, 2 in a row?
Yeah, why not?
Well, why not? Thank you. All right. Thanks, Chad. That is awesome.
No problem.
Okay. So if you want to speak in January of 2023, please give me a ring or send me a Discord message or send me an email and we'll take care of it. So what have I got here? Chats. Okay, I'm going to ignore the chat. So if somebody could watch the chat and yell at me, I guess that's you. Or raise your hand. You can raise your hand. This is, after all, this is Zoom. Okay. Now let's get going. Okay, so we're real late. We're a little late tonight. I'm probably going to truncate this a little bit and pick up some of the things on next month. So let's see. Okay. Okay, how can I pick up this tab?
Just a second.
Okay.
You want to just share a specific tab?
Well, I can share everything, if that's okay.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, share, include.
Wait, are you trying to share it to the Zoom?
I thought it was, but it doesn't look like it.
No. So X out of that. You want to go to Zoom. Alt tab. Oh, I don't know what that's doing. That's weird. What distro is this?
Fedora.
Oh, it's in a separate tab, isn't it? Go over here.
Here?
Mm-hmm. And then you want to go down to the bottom and share the green one. And you could do the whole screen. Because you have Wayland running, you can't do individual things. So
Okay,
let's switch over to your slides.
and away we go.
You can say slideshow on the top. There you go. Well, you want to start from the beginning. You don't want that.
All right, that's the beginning. Okay, folks, thanks for your patience. So tonight I'm going to talk about Zabbix. It's an enterprise system, enterprise monitoring system. What I'm going to go through tonight is just the basic configuration and tuning. My name's Dave Thacker. I'm a Linux engineer for Paraton. My Gmail is there. My Discord link has not been established yet. I've configured and maintained several of these types of monitoring systems through my career. I set up Zabbix at one point. I set up Big Brother with another company. I've maintained Nagios, and I have tolerated SolarWinds. And it sounds like John understands how I feel about that. So tonight's topic, we're going to go about 2/3 of the way through this. So I'm going to talk about Zabbix. I'm going to go through the install notes, but we're not going to do an install. We're actually going to, the install's done. We're going to talk about the network, client, server, and communication, configuration, building blocks, host and groups, adding a host and host group, auto registering, hopefully this will work, creating a media channel for notifications, creating graphs, and building a map. And the stuff down there on the bottom, the trigger and the template and the notification and the graphs, we're probably going to have to wait for another time, probably sometime next year. Okay, so Zabbix was started in 2004. It is open source. It's licensed by the GPL v2, and basically Zabbix LLC does training and support, and that's how they make their money. Capacity is, it can be huge. It scales up very nicely. There are some very, very big enterprises running this. Monitoring coverage is all kinds of things. Any Linux, Unix stuff, Windows, net devices, and other things that you can think of. As long as it's network connected, you can do it. Monitoring technology is agent-based most of the time. There are some agentless situations, and you can use SNMP, and I think definitely it supports the latest, most secure SNMP. So installation notes. I went through between Zabbix documentation and going through a couple of install this sites, and I put my own together that actually works. I've actually done it about 3 times this weekend. So the download site, there's a link there for downloading Zabbix. The front end requirements, like I said, any Linux, a couple of the most popular open source databases. You can either use Apache or Nginx, and you will need PHP. The clients run on all the Linux, including Raspberry, as you'll see tonight. Also Windows, Mac OS, and all those old crufty Linux distributions. They do have containers. I think containers are mostly for agents. There was a project where somebody was actually doing a server in a container, but I have lost track of that. And the Docker repo is also on this slide. What was that?
Well, you just a minor typo under clients available. It says free BS.
Okay. Really, I like BSD.
I can't claim that. That was Linda.
Thanks, Dan. All right. So I built a demo system using Rocky, and it was MariaDB and Apache with PHP 10.6. So my demo install notes are on my GitHub account, and I feel like it's pretty solid. it should work just fine if you follow those instructions with those products in that order. Patches are welcome, and let's see, yeah. Oh, the only thing, the GitHub, my GitHub, it's a README, and it's complete up to the point where you actually bring up the web browser, and I ran out of, I built slides to go through the six or seven steps after you actually get the server up. But those are not in the repository yet, so they're not in the README yet. I'll have those probably this week. Okay, network client server communication. So Zabbix mostly, almost always, uses an agent. And so the agents run in each host that you're going to monitor. Zabbix has both passive and active agents. A passive agent over here, there we go. Okay, in a passive agent configuration, Zabbix server will actually poll and say, what data do you have for me? And the client will respond with all the values for all the things that the server is looking for. So this is pretty much the basic way of getting a host up and running. Now, an active agent is a guy list of it. Okay, so it queries the server and every 2 minutes and says, what thing should I be looking for? So the server communicates with it and goes back and sets everything up for that. And then the client goes back and pushes that information out. Those go to what they call trapper items, which are those are services. There's a service, and you will see threads of those if you're watching the incoming logs from the Zabbix server. It's good to use an active when your client cannot receive an input connection. You know, maybe you've got a firewall rule that says nothing is going to log into, or nobody's going to establish a connection with my host. So in that case, you're going to want to use the active agent. Now you also can use something called the Zabbix proxy. And the proxy is I call it, it's a scalability tool. By using the proxy, you can take a whole stack of agents and have them communicate to the proxy, and then the proxy makes one connection into the server. Because when you start getting, I don't know, I think I probably had maybe 200 hosts when I was working with my Zabbix Enterprise, which is not big, but I started out with a very untuned system, and I found out, you're sending a lot of information in, and the server gets busy, and things get queued up, and things get backed up. So that's one of the reasons is to offload that stuff into the proxy and then have the proxy set it up. The other thing is, if if you can't reach out, if you have a firewall connection that you can't reach out, then you can talk to the proxy on the other side of the firewall, and the firewall will do the active and will actually do passive to those agents, and then send that information through the proxy back up to the Zabbix server. Is that clear as mud? Are there any questions about that? Okay, hearing none. So communication building blocks. We're going to start at the bottom and go up to the top. So a host is any network device that you want to monitor with IP. Host groups, logical group of hosts. People might decide there by operating system, by equipment type, by physical location, or what type of an environment it is. Items, a particular data, particular piece of data that you want to know. Most of the basic monitoring system would be included in that. CPU load, disk percentages, all that stuff. One of the things that we did at one of my positions where they were doing JBoss, we did a lot of JBoss monitoring. And let's see, triggers. Okay. I wanted to get this right, so I've actually pulled this one out of the Zabbix documentation. Okay, it's a logical expression that defines a problem threshold and is used, typo, to evaluate data and items. Basically, a trigger is what you set when something goes over, when your item goes over a certain threshold. So example, when your disks go full, they will fire a trigger. If your host is down, then there will the server will fire a trigger. And there's a couple of examples over here. All right. Here's the here's the moment of truth. Good. That's positive. And that's even better. Okay, so this is my demo. This is my demo machine that I made. Don't look at my password because it's the default password. Zabbix, by the way.
Not default.
No, not default. All right. What do we got going here? Oh, well, we don't have a whole lot going on right now. I think we probably need to go find some hosts. I happen to know that I have what I call the Janky Lab over here. I wish I had a camera for it. I'll take a picture of it and send it to Discord. But I have a beautiful cardboard tray full of 6 Raspberry Pi 3s that I had no idea I had that many. John's going to help me. So this is the Janky Jakey Master 6000 lab or lab enclosure. So I know I've got 6 of these guys and I know where their IP addresses are. So we're going to start with a single configuration. We're going to add a host. So I'm going to go to configure and
I'm
host.
asking if you could click the hide button at the bottom of your screen so it would stop showing up. The Zoom thing.
Is that better?
Thank you.
Zabbix server is not running. Oh, well, let's go check that for a minute. Of course. Good old demo wrinkles. Okay. Yeah, put it up. Root. Okay, so what's running? Apache is apparently. Yeah. So, but what about this one? Oh, very unhappy. Okay, well, I know it was running last night. Let's try it again.
Could be DNS.
Could be.
Status again.
And we're happy. Okay, so let's just make sure that MySQL is running
Oh,
too.
it's set to disabled. Maybe you need to enable it. That's what it is.
Oh, really? I usually do that. Okay, system CTL. There's my symlink. Okay. Just for fun, I'm going to check MySQL, or MariaDB, that is. Yep, that's happy. Okay. So we're going to go hide that for a while. I'm going much too fast. Where's my mouse? Lock up. There. Okay.
Is it a refresh?
Okay, it's gone. All right. Okay, host groups. Well, let's see. What do we got? Well, we have Zabbix servers. Let's make one. Let's make a couple. Oh, there's Linux servers. I like that one. We'll grab that and we will. Oh, did it die again? That would make me very unhappy. Okay. So let's go back to hosts. Sorry, with templates instead. Wrong button. Huh. All right, we'll try it one more time. Then I'll make my own. Okay, host groups. Nope, still not there. Well, that's a different behavior than I had yesterday, but you know, demos. So let's go back to groups. And we'll create a group. And I'm going to call this. All right, now let's see if I can pick up that. No, why not? Okay, well. Template. Okay, I'm going to do a passive template for here. This will bring in a list of items that are going to be monitoring. And I'm going to go down to templates, operating systems. Then I'm going to go down to Linux by Zabbix agent, because agents should be running on all of these hosts. We'll find out in a few minutes. I'm going to take that one and we're going to select that. I happen to know that this guy's name is Alex. We're not going to worry about his DNS right now, but I know that he is also and we're going to work with 1050, and we're monitored by any. I could also select server, or I could say proxy. Then I have to define the proxy, and I'm going to say, oops, did I say 5.1? That's not right. I'm going to do that. Okay. So let's go back up to monitoring. And on monitoring, let's look at latest data. Well, I'm getting data from the server. Oh, that's not bad. That's not good. Why are you dying? Maybe it is DNS.
Can you get around it by putting the names in your hosts file?
Yeah, I'll probably have to. But let's try this one more time here. Oh, really?
It's spelled monkey 123.
I think what it is that I don't even have that. I just have root on here. I don't even think I put a user on there. Let's just kick it all. It's not a happy thought.
Did you do a closed file back?
No, that'll go do that.
They're not there right now. They're starting.
Oh, that's wrong. There. And there. Okay. Enough of that nonsense. Let's get back here. Get back to Zoom. And get back to the demo. And let's see what we got here. I'm not getting shut. Oh, that's good. Let's see. Restart. Oh, it's a pie. Okay, we can talk to the server and the agent is running. So just for fun. And hang it up. Oh, the database is down.
Oh, it's trying to connect to local socket, huh?
Yeah, that was working.
Disk
How do I
full
lose
and
that?
or file system write protected? Read only?
Pardon me?
Is either the disk full or possibly the file system that var lib MySQL is on read only?
No, owned by MySQL, and 755. Interesting. Yeah, nothing else is getting in there. Ah. Well, guys, we've turned into debug mode, but I think what we do before we go into debug, let's run through a few things. So what I've done is I've created, at this point, I should have created a host. Oops. I lost that. There we go. Okay. All right. That's our demo environment. Oop. Where did I go backwards? Oh, I think I got out of right. My slides got out of it too. This has been just wonderful. Okay, so templates. So when you build a list of triggers or a list of items, you can put them together into a template. And that lets you apply an entire pre-sliced bunch of monitoring to each host that you want to. Both items, triggers, and graphs all have templates. So let's say you want to make sure that every file system has a pie chart graph that's going to show up. You can build a graphs template that's going to show that. And then when you apply it to your host, it'll go through, find out all your file systems, and make a pretty pie chart. Okay, next. Feeling snake bit today, guys. Feeling snake bit.
Bruce was wondering if it was a firewall.
Well, that's an interesting thought, except internal.
Yeah. In some of my systems, I usually leave the firewall up, but only open the ports.
Nope, I've got my ports, and I've got my stuff for HTTP. And I had not had the problem on 3 other demos. So I don't know what to tell you. Let's go back that down. Okay. What? Okay. All right. So, well, we have a little bit more to talk about here. So we'll do that. Let's go back to the demo. Okay. All right. in configuration, you also have this possibility of setting up auto discovery. And auto discovery can be done by several different ways. One of them in here gives an explanation. This gives an example of a local host looking for this IP address or this range of IP addresses. You could also create your own. One that I've done is I don't want that one. Let's get back here. Actions. So auto registration. So I want things that are Linux servers. Expect that. No, I didn't. There we go. Create. Okay, what condition do I want to use? Well, I want Linux hosts or metadata contains Linux. And I'm going to add host metadata, which is a value that is defined inside the agent. I'll show you that in a minute. And I want it just to say Linux. And I'll add that. Okay, now if you're going to do an auto registration, then you are also going to have to have some actions. So when I find host metadata containing, I need to add these. Oops, not that one, this one. Oh, operations. Okay, so we are going to add, well, I want to auto register. Yeah, we know that. Go away. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, naming action. Okay, so when the conditions are made, do operations. We're going to add host. And we're going to not do that. Okay, fine. We're also going to add to a host group. Fortunately, I've only got, oh, there's the rest of them. Okay, I wanted to add to Linux servers. So when I auto-register, it's going to add the host automatically, and then it's going to put it in the Linux server. And if there were other groups I wanted to add, I could do that. Or if I wanted to remove a host group or unlink a template, if I auto restrict if the event was going, I'm sorry, if the host had gone away, I can also do that. So that is auto registration. Okay. This one's going to be hard to do, but I'll give it a try. Yes. Let's go back to administration for general GUI. Proxies. Yeah, we're going to have to mess with that later. Okay. So let's go back to what can we actually monitor right now? Well, we're monitoring this guy here, which is the Zabbix server. And let's say if we wanted to apply a template to that. These are all the templates that you could use. Many. I think let's try. Good. I could do Zap. I could do MySQL. That'd be. But what I was really after here is, I just want to add this. This is going to test 13 items. There are 5 triggers that will be triggered if something of these 13 items get out of bounds, and it'll bring 3 graphs in. So I'm going to pick that. And I'm going to say, here's my update button. I don't want a mass update. I just want an update. Oh, there we go. Apply. Okay. The same thing happens if you want to delete one. I'm not going to do that because I've got hardly here. But one thing I need to caution people, when you delete a template, there are, if you're doing a trigger template, there is data that's been in the database. And if you don't want that to continue to show up, you need to say delete and remove. So it will get out of there. Okay, active hosts. Oh, well, that's not going to work either. What time is it? I think we're going to skip several of these. All right, let's go look at health. Let's go into monitoring and dashboards. And I'm going to say all dashboards. I want to look at Zabbix health. And you've got very little there right now, but just to go through these. So values processed per second is the big, how busy is your Zabbix number? The more you have, those are the values that have been sent in from all of your hosts. So as you get more hosts, that goes up. You can mitigate that if you offload some of those hosts into a proxy. That will cut down your values processors per second. You can also check, maybe you're monitoring things that you don't need to monitor. Utilization of data collectors. How busy is each type of data collector? And unfortunately, because we're crashing and burning here, you can't see, but there are different collectors. And this shows which ones are busy. Those are things like trappers that we talked about on active monitoring, and the stuff from passive, and I'm not sure what the others are, unfortunately. Okay, I was a panic. Utilization of internal processes. Internal processes are trapping, elevating, notifying, all those things. And that tells you how, out of all the utilization, which one of those is being used the most and maybe being used too much. Zabbix does hold a cache for the most recent data from items. And so the first one here says, you know, how much of it is used. And my last night, I was 75%, you know, it was, I don't know, 25% used, and the other was, and the rest of it wasn't. So it was green. If it goes over 100 or it goes close to 100, it turns yellow, and it probably alerts you. Value cache effectiveness. How are each of the different types of items that are being sent, are they able to be picked up by the different caches? So let's say, hey, something is actually on disk monitoring, sending those particular kind of items into the value cache or into the cache, and it's overwriting it, or overloading it, then that will actually give you an alarm there. And queue size. Queues are what happens when you've just got too much stuff coming in to be dealt with, and things start queuing up. And most of the time you want your queue size to be pretty small. You can set alarms for your queue size, and actually Zabbix just automatically sets some alarms for it. So those are the things that, if you're, as you grow your enterprise or grow your monitoring, you're going to want to watch this stuff to do your tuning. Okay. All right. Well, guys, it's been, I don't know, 45 minutes, and we're not really going anywhere with this. So I am going to say, does anybody have any questions on the non-existent data that I have?
Now, I had to suffer through Nagios for a little bit, and we even played with Zabbix a little bit. And back in the day, there was things that you had to go through some kind of config file or XML file to adjust. Do you still have to do that today, or can you do everything in the GUI?
then share your screen.
Leave. Is that leave?
No, it says stop sharing at the bottom.
Oh, there we go. Okay, if I heard the question, because my,
That's me, sorry.
okay. So I didn't hear the question. Can you say that again?
So it used to be with Nagios or Zabbix was that you had to do some things with like an XML file or some kind of config file and stuff like that. Do you still have to do that, or is everything able to be done in the GUI?
You can do most of it through the GUI. If you're going to get into some really low level triggers and you're going to do some really low level monitoring systems, you're probably going to get down into some JSON and some XML, but not on a daily basis. For instance, if I was going to create a trigger, I would be able to do that completely in the GUI. I could also test it in the GUI to make sure that the value that I put in there was going to fire at the right place and say, okay, I've put my GUI, I've put my trigger together, and what happens if I send in the data 80? And if you were, for instance, if you were watching disk and you wanted to know when it went over 80, it would come up and say, everything's fine. And then when you say 85, okay, no, it's not anymore. So I would say mostly GUI. Yeah, you're going to get into the nitty-gritty at some point.
Does it come with a bunch of MIBs, or do you have to go fetch them?
That's a good question. I haven't played with SNMP on this since, wow, for probably 5 years. So I would have to reacquaint myself with that.
Is the agent a small footprint and both in space and CPU usage?
Yes. The agents can run on very little. I don't think the agents on my Raspberry Pi are even nudging the CPU. Now, I will say that I did try a proxy, and I had seen a guy who had done proxy on a Raspberry Pi 4. I tried it on a Raspberry Pi 3. Did not work. So the proxy takes a little more stuff. In a proxy, you are going to have some kind of a database. You're going to have either SQLite 3, or you can do, if you have a more beefy, a beefy machine that you're running on and the need for it, you can also use either MySQL/MariaDB or PostgreSQL. It's not really a storage area. Not a lot of stuff is stored in there. It's just if you are getting a lot of data in, you've got to hold it for a little while before it can be pushed up to the server. So agents, very light. Proxy, a little heavier. Glasses are tricky. Anything else? All right, guys. So, well, today was a cautionary tale. This worked once again. Like it worked great in the lab, and it was quite interesting. I'm not sure what this MySQL thing is. I guess I'm going to go home and find out, and I'll let you know. I'll throw that out on Discord and let you know what's going on. I really like this product. And who knows, if you guys, if I'll threaten you, if you guys don't get, if you don't get speakers for me for 2023, you might get another repeat with a better polished presentation.
That'd be fine.
So, what was that?
That would be fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here tonight. Chad, we'll see you in October. John, what do you think? Will we be here in October or be virtual? Do you think? Do you know?
It's up to you. You could do virtual if you want.
Well, I don't.
Maybe
We won't have the room.
here tonight.
We won't have the room, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Why don't you
I'd like to
guys?
see some things fall out in the next week.
What's the vote on? What's the vote on virtual versus present being here?
Well, I like virtual since everybody's still catching COVID.
Okay, I hear one. How many virtuals do I hear? One.
My 2 cents, I think my dot file wranglement talk would be better in person.
Okay.
That's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
So if we get the room, that'd be good. Otherwise, I might flip them and do TMUX first.
Okay. All right. Let's say right now we're going to do live and virtual, and then we will reevaluate, as we get closer to the date. So that's it, folks. I will talk to you next month.